Hey guys, Stealth here and welcome back to Wargame, where, believe it or not, today we are actually not on Mudfight. This is quite the change of events. We're currently on Punch Bowl, which is also known as Plungent Valley if you rotate it this way and redirect the spawn zones a little bit. So what we have over here is a couple of zones on the left, a very close group of zones on the right, and of course a main spawn for blue and a main spawn for red. No secondary spawn zones whatsoever. Now it is I suppose you could call it semi-tactical, because we started out with 500 points, which is quite nice, and we had to go to 8,000. This is definitely one of the shortest rounds that I have seen recently, where no helicopter rushes were involved. I'm going to be operating my Yugoslavian motorized deck, and I'm going to be trying to get to the town over here, and provide a couple of Nevas for support over here on the left. I do have quite a few other people also going to that town with me. Over here we have Fire, we have Fire with his M24Ds, we have Doffen, who's going to be, I think, providing Yugoslavian infantry here. So we're going to, oh, actually he's going here to this forest. And we got a couple of guys taking over the right flank. Now the game took a hell of a lot of time to load in. And I think that a couple of blue players just dropped out. I know that Epic Knight left, and this Chinese, Korean, I'm not even sure what language that is, guy also dropped out. So we're looking at an 8 versus 10. We have an interesting situation going on here, and that's going to be fairly obvious by the time that we get started. Now, my starting forces, as mentioned, the Nevas, a Pinscar with a sniper team, so a Senke. I got a couple of infantry transports moving along here, and I thought, well, I'm just going to sit over here. Now, if you look at the map, we got forces going here, here, there, and there. But this map is a little bigger than that. We have this. And we got nobody going there. Now, we're not the only one trying to race to this town, as Kogi is also having the same plan. M24Ds engaging Puma pirates. And this is when the Nevas start firing, and they start smashing helicopters with the infantry inside. These guys don't stand a chance. A lot of enemy infantry goes down, both due to my infantry, or sorry, both due to my Nevas. Fire's FGB-40s are making a mess of things. We've got the M24Ds. And so we start out with a lead of 500 points. Over on the right, I don't really know what's going on, because I was playing on the left. But these guys seem to be similarly making a hell of a lot of progress, and currently we're on 900 points. Keep in mind, this match is just over a minute old, and we're already at a lead of 900 points. Now over here on the left, we have nothing. Absolutely nothing. And that could become a problem later. Brendryen are moving into position. I'm going to try to keep pushing with these guys, even though their anti-tank range is only 1050. So I have to get close to this AMX-40 in order to actually kill it off. Kogi surrenders, that's another blue 4 player. Now we have Doffen pushing through here with Specialny, Commandosi, moving up to what seems to be a modicum of Israeli defense. T-150, turn 5 plays and a Merkava 3. Over on the right, well, they already captured the zone. We got 1300 point lead. We do, however, have a bit of a helicopter issue here. We got an M60L DAP ×2 and another helicopter that just went down. But still, at this point we were going, guys, is anybody covering the left? And nobody was. So we just decided to start pushing. And unfortunately, my Brendryen are not really going to be able to use their vehicles because of that MX-40, but at least these guys are moving at a speed of 30 kilometers per hour, despite carrying all that equipment. So kudos to their stamina on this end. Now I do call in a SPAT BOV-30 over here on the left, just to make sure that we don't get helo rushed, or that if we do get helo rushed, there's at least something that looks like an AA gun that could be threatening them. But aside from that, we just decide to send virtually nothing to the left. Fire is trying to do something with his Mi-24Ds, if only put up a sort of deflecting force to dissuade the enemy from pushing. And Dauphin on the right hand is pushing forward, running right into an MA24D, which has bigger issues because he just ran into 40 Eriskoya. Current lead, 1700 points. You can see a lot of blue 4 vehicles, but they are all on the run. Looks like we got a couple of Sheridans, I guess? I'm not even sure what those are. Might be a US... Is that a US armor deck? I think that's a US armor deck. Interesting. Oh well, we start pushing. For which I have absolutely the wrong forces. I mean, Brendryen and Raketas are not exactly designed to push. At least not in the open, which is what I'm having them do currently. I was not expecting something like this, so I didn't have the right forces. The fastest units that I have are the Raketas, but sneeze at them and they die. They can put out HE fire and napalm fire, and they were initially intended to support the infantry over here and start pestering enemy infantry at medium to long range to make sure that then my Brendryen would have an easier time getting into position. But instead, we are rushing them right into the enemy cap, where they encounter an AMX-40. There you go. He hit him and immediately died. Now this AMX-40 is not particularly impressed yet, although he does not quite like the napalm. And the Raketas is almost out of ammo as well. Does, I believe, take out the V-150, thanks to napalm. But then we encounter... Oh, there it is. It's not quite dead yet. But then we encounter a DAP, which just put both, or put the other Raketas out of position, or out of its misery as well. Atacam's positions is known. I believe there's another one somewhere back there. KZNVR surrenders. The guys on the right keep making progress. Dauphin over here. The town, not so much. Not a whole lot going on over there. We even found a command unit over here. Escorted by a little bit of Delta Force. Now, they don't really need to kill the Delta Force, just the CV. And there goes the command vehicle. My OT Tab 71 is also trying to hunt down a command vehicle, but unsuccessfully so. At least at the moment. Because I was more interested in finding enemy command vehicles over here. I am also moving my command vehicle into position. It is going to take quite a while before it actually gets there, though. Here's the DAP that I was looking at previous. And for some reason I encounter a bunch of infantry, which I'm not even sure why they weren't deployed. Maybe the player who had them left. The DAP takes a hell of a lot of fire from the Brendryen. All sorts of targeting systems get hit, tail rotor gets damaged, and there goes the DAP. Fob captured. So I live up to my capture the supply standard. We got a command vehicle over here on the left by Fettuccino. And we only need to find the command vehicle here. And some of them over there. OT Tab 71s are rushing forward, looking at the Atacams. But the Atacams has a whole host of other issues in the form of the 912. Command vehicle goes down. I believe the other command vehicle just ran out to here. There it is. And that only leaves them, as far as I can tell, with one command vehicle over here in Dimitri. We have scored 4,240 points. They have scored 1,080. And there is the last command vehicle. What the fuck happened here? This was a victory in less than 7 minutes. In a 10v10. Where the teams did seem to be pretty even. I mean, there's a Brigadier General over here, who you could expect quite a few interesting feats of. Adrian lost a hell of a lot of units, but that's mostly probably because this guy left, and he inherited all units. Otherwise, you couldn't lose this many units even if you tried, because you simply couldn't afford them. Now you can see that this guy and this guy had 0.0 kills, so they both left before the battle even started. And most of our kills... Well, there wasn't really any discernible source, although Dauphin definitely made a hell of an impact. But the points were pretty spread out over the whole team. I didn't do that much, but then again, I was not expecting this much of a push, otherwise I would have brought different units. Now, I'm going to go back into the replay and see what Blue 4 has. Because I am rather interested in seeing exactly where Blue 4 fucked up this bad. Because they did have the units... they did have the firepower, but they just, I don't know, decided to deploy it elsewhere or something? We shall see. Okay, once more livening color. This time, both colors, actually. I'm going to be playing it in neutral. I'm going to be speeding things up. I'm going to see what Blue's deployment process was. To see what sort of things they're thinking of. This is all the red markers. There seems to be a distinct lack of blue for markers. So these guys weren't coordinating as well either. This is an interesting choice. Somebody's sending a super heavy over here with a bunch of AA. A super heavy on this part is going to be facing all sorts of enemy infantry at short range. If you're using a super heavy, you want that thing to have maximum range, because at maximum range it does good damage, while not taking that much damage most of the time. Let's see, any other markers? None. There's your first mistake. People are not coordinating. They are not actually showing... Look at that, that's the only blue for marker, that's sad. They're not actually coordinating and communicating where is somebody going. So you could have a vast concentration of units going over this side, going over that side. You don't know. You're going to have to be sort of interpreting what units are angled at. Now, as for their starting setup, you can see that all these Puma pirates are looking to get that town ASAP. They are, however, not in the sky, so they're going to take a couple of seconds longer to take off. This is the AMX-40 that I encountered over here. I think that he's trying to take this town by himself. Azazkaz is the guy operating the helicopters. He had the helicopters that we saw over here in Charlie. We got one LVTP, two M1IP Abrams, and a couple more infantry. This is probably the Delta. So what the hell did they deploy here? Patriot, Chaparral, M1A2. By the way, it's interesting to see that this guy... Oh, sorry, this is the real life. This machine kills fascists, I think, is his name. Let's see what he has, because he's the Brigadier General. M1A2, Chaparral, Bradley, V150. I think he was operating over here on the left, because this is where you do have that range for your units. Siphon Lynxes. Looks like maybe SAS or SBS. A quad stack of 70s. Okay then. 551s. So yeah, this guy was trying to take over the town all by himself. Okay, so what we're looking at here is basically 6 people going left, 1 going middle, and 1 going right. We had 3 people going here. And 7 people pushing this side. Nobody was going over here. So they're already pretty far behind. Especially in the form of micromanagement. Here come the helicopters from fire. Here's the resistance from our team. That's Manewa's firing. Splashing all the helos. And these guys get killed off mostly before they even drop off. The only squad that actually survive is 1 squad of commandos and some Mistrals. And that's it. Now over on the right, the Super Cobras and the DAPs could encounter helicopters and take them out, but aside from that, they seem to have no AA. Had these things actually encountered or decided that they weren't encountering anything and pushed through, they could have made it to Alpha. But they'd had to have flown a little closer to the map edge, because currently they're still making it pretty easy for us to detect them. And on top of that, there's no recon helicopter in here. So you could push, but you'd be relying on medium optics from the DAPs instead of anything else. Now what happens here? SASR has been deployed, Rangers, ATGM infantry, quite a few fire support units, tanks, a duo stack of T-90S. Interesting. Smoke screens are putting up, which are coming from our team. Artillery fire is raining down on these units over here. There's Kogi. He's the guy who went mid and lost all his forces. So this guy now got the AMX. Here's the Specialny, yeah, and this is a point at which you are just pretty fucked. I really don't have a good counter strategy to encountering Specialny, Jetnotki, or Commandosi in these stacks. Napalm could do it, but it is fairly risky to deploy it, because at this range, if you want to deploy Napalm here, your plane's going to be evacing pretty much up to here. And that means it's very vulnerable to enemy anti-air fire. So as much as they would like to try and counter this infantry, they just don't have the numbers, they don't have the infantry, they don't have any airstrike opportunity, especially with my newest covering the area here. So it is very, very hard for these guys to actually defeat all this infantry that's pushing through these forests. And that's something that I just don't really have a solution to. If you do, let me know down below in the comments. MX-40 is being pulled back. Yeah, see, had these guys actually pushed through instead of parked here, they could probably have gotten pretty far. And this is also where the lack of anti-air defenses for this group comes into play. Because the M24Ds might be blind, but they're not stupid. They can actually hit and damage stuff. They would probably struggle a little bit with the M1IPs. But aside from that, the rocket pods and the main gun, Humvees, LVTP-71, yeah, that could probably work. So interestingly, not enough initiative here. And the DAP for some reason flies all the way home. Doesn't actually do anything. It does seem to have fired 2 stingers, and it was probably the plane that was flying by. But it's pretty perfectly healthy. I think at this point, Blue might be realizing, oh fuck, we got a whole bunch of stuff coming in. And they'd be right. They got no reconnaissance, and the most forward unit at this point is a command unit, which is unarmed. And this is where, what was his name? Dauphin is making his push through the forest. Merkava 3 is already under fire. I'm not even sure if the smoke screen is helping him or helping Red 4. There's the Commandosi. Still no hit. There's my Raketas. Look at that, they got nothing in here. Comvat, DAP, V150, and an AMX. And this guy is probably even heading out. Yeah, he's not even staying in the same area. They had absolutely nothing defending this place. Which is unsurprising, because at this point they had already lost 2,500 points. 2,700 points. And it just keeps getting worse. So, I gave my opinion on the game. Let me know what's yours. How would you have tried to counter this onslaught by Red? What would you do about the infantry pushing up through the forest here? Because there has to be something you can do. And just imagine that you see this. What do you throw against it? What does Blue 4 have that could possibly make a difference here? Let me know down below in the comments. And I hope you enjoyed this, well, this quick 7-minute war. Let me know what your thoughts are down below. See you next time for the next video.